formalize a cooperation deal with prosecutors, he needs to do so before Saturday. That's the deadline for him to notify the court that he intends to change his plea. And there have been plenty of signs that Greenberg intends to do just that, especially since he faces a mandatory minimum of 12 years in prison and possibly decades more if he's convicted on all counts and is sentenced to the maximum, per the New York Times. Last month, Greenberg's lawyer said he expected his client to strike a deal, strongly hinting that he'd be willing to flip on Gaetz. Then there was reporting from the New York Times that Greenberg has been providing investigators with information since last year, including about Gaetz's activities. And the Daily Beast reported that in a failed bid to obtain a pardon, Greenberg even penned a confessional letter that implicated Gaetz in some of the conduct under investigation. Now, of course, Gaetz has continued to deny any wrongdoing and says he's never paid for sex. And, meanwhile, NBC has confirmed that, according to a law enforcement official, investigators want to talk to Gaetz' ex-girlfriend, who formerly worked as an intern on Capitol Hill. It comes after CNN reported that her cooperation, along with Greenberg's, could be the final steps before the DOJ decides whether to charge Gaetz himself. Joining me now is Glenn Kirshner, former federal prosecutor. I guess the sort of obvious question, Glenn, would be, would prosecutors go to the trouble of trying to talk to this former intern and spending all of this time playing all this through with Greenberg if they didn't intend to move on the congressman?
Yeah, it's a great question, Joy. This has the feel, when I heard the reporting about how the investigators are now going to a former girlfriend / Capitol Hill intern of Matt Gaetz, here's what that feels like to me. They have gotten everything they could get out of Joel Greenberg. And it's really important to understand that the prosecutors never would have made a plea offer, a plea deal to Greenberg that, as you said, will be expiring this Saturday. So he's got to let the court know what he's going to do. They never would have made him that plea offer unless they had debriefed him, interviewed him, investigated what he had to say about the criminal activity of others, and they were able to corroborate it and potentially use it against other targets like Matt Gaetz. Now, we're going to know soon enough whether Greenberg is going to accept that plea offer, but it feels like they're now going to these other potential witnesses, like Gaetz' former girlfriend, to see whether that helps corroborate the incriminating information that Greenberg obviously gave the prosecutors in order to get this plea offer that he's got.
Let me play, because Gaetz doesn't seem to be too bothered. He's going around like everything is fine. This is him on Friday. He was at the Villages with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who ironically is part of is an adherent to a cult that believes that Democrats are sex traffickers of children. But she doesn't seem to be looking at Gaetz going, hey, was that girl 17? Anyway, here he is on Friday making a joke.
I already know how CNN's going to report it. Matt Gaetz has wild parties surrounded by beautiful women in the Villages. So just get ready for it.
Ha ha ha! He's gross. Should he be a bit more worried about, given that Greenberg's lawyer seems to be saying, yeah, we're giving him something, these prosecutors?
Yeah, it feels like Gaetz believes that the best defense is a good offense. And you know what? That kind of bravado may play well with the residents of the Villages, but that will not play well with the jury when and if he is charged and hauled into court. He should probably just keep laughing it up while he has the opportunity, because everything that we've seen from Greenberg and from others sure looks, and let's remember, Joy, this investigation was opened under the Bill Barr Department of Justice, right? So if you're a Donald Trump loyalist and whatever you've done is a bridge too far for Bill Barr, it seems like you've got a world of trouble coming your way.
It could be that Gaetz just sort of likes young-looking girls. I'm grossed out even just talking about him at the moment. I'm sorry if I look cringy, but is it a defense if he thinks that the young-looking, teeny bopper-looking girls he's dating, he thinks they're over 18, that if in his own mind he's not fully aware of their age? Does that matter from a legal point of view?
There are lots of different criminal offenses on the books, both federally and locally, because some of this could have violated the state laws of Florida. Some of them require a specific knowledge of the victim's age, and some do not. There are some what colloquially we'll call like a statutory rape offense where you don't need to know the age. But here's the thing. Look at some of what Joel Greenberg is indicted for. It includes things like misusing his official position to go in and gin up false IDs, false Florida driver's licenses. Now, it doesn't spell out that he was doing that for, underage girls to make them seem like they were women, but it sure has that flavor when you read through the 33 federal felony charges indicted against Greenberg. So if Gaetz is any part of that, he may not have much of a defense that, she looked older than she was.
Ooh. Sorry that I have to bring you on to talk about this stuff, but, we are where we are. Glenn Kirshner, you're great. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here tonight. All right.